how to nail your interview, how to do the best you possibly can. Before we jump into the tactical plan, I want to remind you that you're selling a brand called you. You are not begging for a job. You're not even asking for a job. You're building your brand and you're building relationships. Please keep that mindset. You have an identity, you're valuable, you are special, you are wonderfully made, and you're the only brand like you on the planet. Keep building your own brand in your mindset, and you're not begging for a job, you're not desperate, you're not asking for a job, you're building relationships to find where your personal brand will fit the best with other companies. So by the end of this lesson, you will know how to go into any interview with confidence. You can wow your interviewer, and you can ultimately win them over to your side. Interviews are one of the most daunting parts of the job search process. In fact, many people are frightened of interviews. You cannot be frightened. You've got to be selling your brand. Be proud of who you are and know that you are special. So many guides, videos, courses, and workshops are entirely dedicated to teaching you how to make a great impression in the first few minutes of an interview. But it's really much simpler than it seems, and I've done this my whole life. In this lesson, I'm going to walk you through the most important things you need to know to ace your interview. Number one, know what your objective is. This is perhaps the most important thing to keep in mind. When you're going into an interview, what are you hoping to achieve? Think about why exactly you've asked this person to meet with you to give you some of their valuable time, what you're hoping to get out of it. What is your walkaway? For example, you might want advice on applying to a job opening you saw, more information about the company's needs, plus how you might be able to solve problems at the company, connections to other people inside the company, etc. Have your primary goal established and a secondary goal established. When the time presents itself, you want to ask what you want politely plus directly. There's no point in beating around the bush, but wait to that right time. Number two, have what you need to succeed. You want to come prepared, dressed professionally in the culture of the company you're visiting. Both men and women should always wear a suit unless specifically told otherwise. You can ask, should I wear a suit? And they'll tell you. Take care of basic grooming. Make sure you take care of yourself on a daily basis, but leading up to the interview, invest a little bit more time into the care of your routine. It will help you to feel more confident and come across professionally. And again, we're building your brand for the marketplace. If you have short hair or facial hair, you might want to go get a cut a few days before to look well-groomed. Brush your teeth, like your mother said, shower, clean your nails, the basics. But it's amazing how many people show up looking a little funky because they're harried or in a hurry. This is it. This is your brand. You don't need to do anything completely out of the ordinary. Don't go buy a new dress or a special tie or whatever. Just be conscious that this is your brand. Like if you were selling a car, you want the car clean and ready for the buyers to look at it. Make sure all your bases are covered. Also, be mindful to get enough sleep the night before the interview. And the day of is not a day to try some daring new breakfast. Stick with what works for you. Stay to the basics and keep it normal. Bring your resume, but don't give it to them unless they ask for it. Resumes aren't the end all anymore, and you don't want to come across as overly pushy. That being said, it's good to have it on you just in case. Number three, do your due diligence. Do research ahead of time so that you know what you're talking about, plus ask smart questions, thoughtful questions. Go back over your resume and your LinkedIn site. Assume that the person meeting you has access to your resume and LinkedIn page. If they ask you a question about either, you want to know what they're talking about. Like, oh, I didn't know that was on my resume. That would be dumb. Take some time leading up to the interview to go back over your resume and your profile in order to refresh yourself on what you have listed, plus how you have described it. Know the company you're visiting. If you want to potentially work for this company, you need to know everything you can find out about it. For example, there may be some breaking news story that the person you're meeting with's mind is thinking about because they just found out about it 5 hours previously. Start with things that you can find in the BetterJobs platform, like the industry, the size, the location, how long the company's been around, etc. Then do a check for recent news. Some companies will have news on their website, but usually only the good news. But if it's not, check LinkedIn and do a basic Google search. Especially any news that's bad, you could address, and maybe your brand could help solve that problem. Also, this is common sense and it should go without saying, but if you're attending this specific meeting with the objective of eventually landing a specific job from a listing you found, research that position very carefully. You might say something like, gee whiz, the job I really like does require a few nano courses, and I am going to take the nano courses to fill out my skills gap so I fit every aspect of that job request. Read the job description several times. Find reviews on sites like Glassdoor to see what other people in the position have said and been asked in interviews. You might find some things that show you don't want to work at that company as well. Go through similar job postings at other companies for references. Learn as much as you can about the job. Learn the person, know the person. You should have already done some research on this person when you found your commonality or your first phone call or your first email. So just go over your notes and bring those connections, those affinities that are front of mind before the interview. Be sure you know the basics about them, like what their current job title is, a brief work history where they worked before, and any commonalities or affinities between the two of you that you can talk about. You don't want to come across as creepy by knowing way too much, so you don't want to go overboard digging through their social media, but being able to reference a few things about them, like, I saw you used to work at X company, or I saw you on the beach with your 3 dogs. It looks like you were having fun on Instagram. Go a long way towards making people feel appreciated and like you care about them, but not too creepy. For a refresher, visit Mastering the Better Job platform, the section Finding Companies and People. Prepare questions and ways you can help. As you do your research, jot down a few questions that come to mind. For example, if you saw something interesting in the news or in their work history, brainstorm some thoughtful questions to ask when you meet. You also might want to think of specific ways that your expertise plus experience can support their company. Again, they're looking to solve problems with people. This is especially important if you don't have a specific job in mind, but instead want them to create a position for your brand. Again, talk about your brand. Think about yourself as a company and as a brand. You need to be able to articulate what exactly they need that you can deliver, including why and how. Number 4, plan your timing well. Time is one of the most valuable assets any one of us have. By respecting the other person's time, you show that you respect them as a person and as a professional. Confirm the day before. In the world of business, things come up at the last minute. Reach out the day before to confirm that the meeting time and location still works for them. If they change it, don't be crushed, don't get depressed. Everybody is busy, and I'm sure they'll reschedule. Preferably, reach out close to the end of the day so that if anything is going on to be added to their calendar, it probably has been added to their calendar. If you have to reschedule, don't take it personally, like I said a minute ago. It happens. Just get something planned immediately instead of pushing it off indefinitely. Get there early. I always get to a meeting 15 minutes before the meeting. That's one of my rules. Maybe I won't go in the building, but I'm getting my mindset. Again, it's all right here. If you have a few days to prepare, plus your meeting location isn't too terribly far away, you might want to consider a dry run getting there. Drive by and check out where the place is. I've done that many times on important meetings. I've even gone the day before if I'm traveling to an important meeting. Especially if you live in a city, knowing what to expect in terms of construction, traffic, weird one-way streets, transfers on public transportation, your Uber app crashing, all of this stuff is very helpful in your planning process. On the day of the interview, aim to get to the general area about 30 minutes early. If you're meeting them off-site, like at a coffee shop, you can go ahead and find a seat and sit down with a laptop or a book. If you're meeting on-site, though, don't go to the building more than 10 minutes early. They likely have a busy day, and you don't want to be a burden to them by making them feel uncomfortable about having you wait or make them rush up to meet you. I usually get there 15 minutes early, but I don't tell the front desk or I stay outside. I'm getting my mind ready. 10 minutes early is the perfect amount of time to show that you respect their time. Respect the end time. If you've planned to meet for lunch, ask them close to the beginning of the meeting if there's a specific time they need to get back to the office or head out. I do that on phone calls as well. If they say yes, be sure to pay close attention to that time so you respect their time. When you have 5 minutes left, let them know. Say something like, I know you only have about 5 minutes left, So I just want to ask you one more thing before we go. This gives them the opportunity to tell you it's fine for them to spend more time if they want to, plus are able to, and also give them a comfortable way to wrap up the meeting if they're ready to go without feeling awkward. Point number 5, lead the conversation to be about them. You may think an interview is about you. It's not. It's about getting them to like you, which is a big difference. You want your interviewer to walk away from this meeting thinking, I can enjoy spending hours stuck in a room with this guy solving problems. And to accomplish that, you want to come across as genuine, friendly, and likable above all else. So in my life, if I'm investing in a partner, if I'm investing cash and I know I'm going to be in that kind of business relationship, I ask myself the question, could I take a vacation with this person? If I could take a vacation with them, then they're probably a good investment partner. Because when you're investing money in a company, there's always problems and there's always hurdles to go through as a partner. We have some other courses on that we'll share with you later. While it's true that they want someone competent to join their company, even more important, people have an innate desire to support their friends. They want to have a good comrade in the trenches with them. Use this to your advantage by building a rapport with them right off the bat, instead of focusing on proving how smart you are or how great you are or what problems you're going to solve. Treat them like an old friend. They're already in an office all day. Don't make this meeting stuffy too. Instead, win them over to your side by treating them like an old friend. Talk about those affinity points that you've researched carefully so you can talk about sports or charities or something other than business. To refresh your interpersonal skills, to pick up some great tips and tricks, revisit the lesson on how to be a likable person and influence people. It's pretty valuable. It's simple, but you got to keep it at the front of your mind. Your commonality or your affinities will help you to build rapport, like I mentioned earlier. So use it to put them at ease and get the conversation flowing. Have examples to back up your skills. You should be listening for 80% of the time and talking for only 20% of the time. So you want to be sure you use that 20% very wisely. Listen, learn, and use your 20% wisely. Instead of overwhelming them with abstract skills, come prepared with precise, compelling examples of your accomplishments. For example, one-sentence statements, quantitative improvements in key performance indicators, that type of short billboard, bumper sticker results that you've done before. Number 6, thank them for their time. You want to shake their hand and thank them in person at the start and at the end of every meeting, and then also send a quick thank you email the next day. For a word-of-mouth walkthrough on how to write the thank you email, revisit the lesson that we have on how to write effective emails. To recap, knocking your interview out of the park is all about preparation. To wow your interviewer and to get what you want out of the meeting, be sure to have what you need to succeed, do your due diligence and preparation and practice, plan your timing well, lead the conversation to be about them, and thank them for their time. It's that simple, but when you put it all together, you will have a home run interview. In fact, at the end of 90 days, you're going to have so many job offers, you're not sure which one you're going to take.